What it is, you guys, it is your girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Drum I Like prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, hoping, because you got to hold your breath for justice, especially us, to see justice before all fades to bleak. Yes, his your girl Cadillac. So I was closing again. And I'm sorry, y'all. I have to make a retraction. Anyways, today, first, girl, ADHD. Today is September the 21st. It is 12:43 a.m. I wanted to give a happy birthday to my older sister, Kashara Dixon. She would have been 49 today. And yes, happy birthday to her. You'll hear a little bit tomorrow. I'm just kind of tired as I'm getting off. But we're going to do something in memory of her on her birthday a little later today. Like once I wake up from my nap after going to bed. But anyways, I was sweeping the floor while closing. And I was listening to Miss Wisdom Speaks Life. I kept saying Wisdom Speaks Truth. I don't know why I keep messing up her channel name, but it is Wisdom Speaks Life. I was listening to her again tonight as I'm sweeping, closing the restaurant down. I put my little phone in my pocket here, and I can listen to my YouTube creators while I am closing. Miss Wisdom Speaks Life lately had been doing her testimonies because God has done so much over the course of her life, which made me want to start telling my testimonies because, again, God has done so much over the course of my life. I am 44 years old, and throughout my life, some of the best things have happened to me, and some of the worst things have happened in my life. But now looking back, like that poem, Footprints in the Sand, I could see it was nothing but the Lord that brought me through and brought me this far, right? So I really didn't know as I was sweeping, I'm like, well, what testimony do I want to do today? Because I do have a list of them. I sat down and tried to write out. That's just starting because, you really can't account for every single thing that God has done for you. And I do like to journal. I'm a journaler, if that's even a word. But I think journaling is good because I write what I am praying for, and I leave space, and I put, did God answer it? Because a lot of times, if you just depend on your memory, you overlook and you forget, and it seems like, no, God hasn't been answering my prayers. But when you really look and you really accounted for them, that's just like when you have money and you're not accounting of how you're spending, and you're just spending, and then you're like, why am I broke? That's the same thing. When you're not counting your blessings, when you're not writing down the things that God has done for you, a lot of times off top, you're going to think, oh, God is not moving in my life, right? But then when you look back a year or two later, when you come across that notebook, you're like, oh, yeah, I did get through that. I did think I was not ever going to get out of that. But God. So I guess it was just laid on my heart to tell the story um, of my husband being released from jail. So, this is kind of going to be a story. If you have been here, you've heard this story. But I don't have I don't think I have loyal, not that it's not loyal, but I don't have long standing like viewers. And the way this YouTube thing is set up, you can have subscribers, but I really don't know for what, because they don't even show your subscribers. Previous YouTube used to show your subscribers your videos, and it was a whole purpose in having subscribers. But they have over the time made YouTube so much more harder. Kind of wish I had got in back then when it was easier. But so I don't think I have any long-standing viewers that have been here long enough to hear those stories from back in 2020 when I first jumped back on YouTube. So I'm going to tell it again. And I only have about 45 minutes. I honestly, this one is a complex story. It's a long story. And I'm tired, and I really don't even feel like telling it, because I'm like, it's too much to say, too much to tell. But I'm going to attempt to, and I'm going to be obedient if that is the testimony that was laid on my heart. Then I'm going to go ahead and do it. Well, I'm going to attempt to do it. So from my other testimonies, if you've been here, you've heard that I was always the odd one out. I was always the black sheep, scapegoat, anything that is, I really last picked, sometimes never picked at all. That was Skilo. No friends, maybe one friend here and there. The one that everyone forgets, the one that everybody looks over, the one that everyone passes by. But if you need me, I'm just like a tool in a toolbox. If you need me, I'm the one you looking and searching out. But when you don't need me, I'm easily to be pushed aside, forgotten. You're not picking up the phone to see how I'm doing when you don't need me. That's me. I told you about my bullying through, wow, all my life. From elementary, because I was the only BLK girl in an all-YT school, to my middle school when I thought I was going to be accepted because it was an all BLK school. And then I went and had an accident, and I fell on my face and skinned it, and they started calling me Scarface and bullying me. So whole childhood bullied, outcasted. So you can imagine the type of self-esteem I had. You can imagine the type of depression, the type of, just a very dark life. Yeah, I remember so much depression, so much feeling like I don't matter to anybody. And yeah, that's all I remember from early childhood on. So in my life, I've had 2 serious relationships. My first boyfriend in high school when I was 15 years old. He was the only one brave enough to go with me after it started to die down, the bullying. And then Mr. Marcello Jackson, he wasn't my second boyfriend, but my second serious relationship. And wow. So you have to know, in the time that I met Marcello, I did not want to meet Marcello. I didn't want to be with anybody because I've had a few boyfriends that really had just broke my heart and just always made me know that I was nothing special. Women are interchangeable. They come and go. You're nobody. So I was like, I just want to be single. Like, I don't even care to be with anybody. I grew up my whole childhood not really feeling loved. Though my parents, I only learned this full circle. They did love me, but it wasn't it was the way you love somebody after you yourself have been through trauma. You know how trauma kind of messes you up to the point where you don't even you're not the person you would have been without the trauma, right? So they didn't love like in a healthy way. They did love me, but it wasn't shown in the most healthiest way. We were a very dysfunctional family, which many of our families are, so I'm sure you can relate to that possibly. And if you can't, then that's a blessing and that's a testimony that you should be telling. So going through my whole life not feeling loved at all. Family didn't grow up. We didn't tell each other, oh, I love you, I love you. Words were not spoken like that in our household. But like I said, full circle, I learned that they loved me in their own way that was kind of dysfunctional, but So myself, I had given up on love. The way I am, if I can't get something and I tried and I did my best, it's one day where I'm like, you know what? I don't even want it. Don't even worry about it. I don't want it. I don't even want to be loved. I don't want to be with nobody. I'll be by myself. And when I was single, I was actually having a lot of fun being single. I was newly able to go out. My mother kept me under lock and key. Church or school, that was it. Nothing else. Couldn't really go nowhere. Couldn't really do nothing. I had those 3 younger sisters, so I felt like I was just the built-in babysitter. That I always feeling like I was just a tool to help, but not even someone to love. It always felt like I was giving, and not receiving back. That's how it really did feel. And every time I would try to just talk to them and tell them how I feel, they would just say I'm whining. So it's like you get to a point where you're like, you know what? I'm not going to try anymore. My trying's not getting me nowhere. Why keep going down this road expecting different outcomes and it's not happening? So I let things go. When I can't have them, I make peace with them and let them go. Just like had to let go wanting more children. So I was not in a mind frame of wanting anybody. I wasn't looking for nobody. I was really just having fun, living my life, trying to get through college, but broke and could not afford to put myself through college. So just kind of working, wanting to be something, but never quite achieving, because I really was the artist and I was being forced to find something else to do because art is not a career that you can build a foundation on, what everyone said. So, of course, nobody encourage my art in that manner because, I just feel like had somebody poured into me. I always think what could I have been, but I wasn't worth pouring into, to everyone around me, it seemed like. So I had one day, I was 18. I had done graduated. My little cousin, Phil the bad guy, he's like 4 years younger than me. He wanted to go on a date, but my aunt would not let him go on a date with the girl by himself. So he's like, well, what if Keita goes with me and she chaperones? I did. I do not know why his girlfriend just grew so attached to me. I told you, kids love me, like of all ages. They just fall in love with me. And she, from that point, was calling me, hey, how you doing, cuz, and this and that. And I'm like, I'm kind of antisocial. So, I mean, I don't really like hanging out like that, but I'm not going to always try to push people away, So I was by myself, and she's like, my cousin, no, it was her uncle, wants to meet you. She just kept trying to hook me up. She tried to hook me up with a guy from church. That didn't work out, from her church. Then she tried to hook me up with her uncle. I go to his house and he has a whole girlfriend. So I'm like, girl, just stop. I don't want to meet nobody. I'm fine. You don't need to hook me up. So then one day she picks up the phone and calls me, and she's like, hey, I'm at my cousin's house. Will you come pick me up? And he wants to meet you. And I'm like, I don't want. Why is it that when you're single, people think they have to hook you up? Like you're kind of not happily single. Some people are okay with being alone. There are some people that are codependent and they cannot be alone. But there are some people that are very okay with being alone. I'm that person. I'm a solitary person. It takes a lot. I do hang out with people sometimes, but it takes a lot out of me when I do try to hang around people. So to miss all this chaos, confusion, I just be by myself like that, girl. But she just kept trying to hook me up. So I'm like, I don't want to meet your cousin, but I'll come by and pick you up. But please tell him I don't want to meet him. And she's like, okay, I'll tell him. I pull up. He's sitting on a car, and I don't even, was she outside? Yeah, she was outside with him, and he's sitting on this car. And I'm like, why she got him out here? I told her I don't want to meet nobody. And she's like, hey, this is my cousin Marcello. And I'm like, girl, didn't I tell you I don't want to meet anybody? Why are you trying to introduce me to him? So I'm sitting there, and we all like kind of talk about it's awkward because I'm like, why did she do this? I told her I don't want to meet nobody else. Like, just let me be. And he goes inside the house. So it's just me and her. And I'm like, I don't want to meet nobody. She's like, girl, just talk to him. I'm like, I'm being honest with you. I don't want anybody. Would you stop? And she's like, girl, just take his number or just give him your number. And I'm like, okay, but I wasn't even planning on answering because I don't want to talk to nobody. To that point, pretty much each man that I met, I'm never gonna say all of one demographic is the same. So I won't never say all men are the same. But all the men that I had met were kind of on the same thing. And I just got tired of it. I used to think they read from a cue book that just told them the same words to say, the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, just give him your phone number. And then me and her, when he came out, she gave him my phone number. And that was when them Nokia phones was out, girl. And I drove off with her, dropped her off, and that was supposed to be that. He calls me. Why is he calling me? I never expect him to call, but I'm like, okay, well, whatever. He caught me off guard. I don't even know if did we even have like call ID and all that? I can't remember. It was so long ago. But we ended up talking, and the conversation was kind of cool. He was like, oh, well, why don't you come back around here and hang out? Now, this the part. I was going with twins at that time. So I definitely, not like hard down in a relationship, because I said I didn't want to do that. I was single, but kind of doing whatever my thing was, but not sleeping with folks. Like, I was always the one when it got to that point. But it's so crazy. And I didn't know they were twins, but I should have realized because their names rhymed. I met one here and one on the other side of town. And one was supposed to be my boyfriend or whatever. And the other one, we were supposed to hook up. We kind of went to school together. But by me being Scarface, nobody liked me. And then all of a sudden one day, everybody loves me and wants me. And girl, they were just falling out when they walked past me. Like, my little bag, my coupon bag, when I worked at Winn-Dixie, was filled with numbers. But I was cool with not being with nobody. You can want me if you want, but I'm not tying myself to nobody. I've been hurt, and I'm done. I'm done. So even with the guy that I was with, I was like, I don't even really want to be with him like that, but I guess we boyfriend and girlfriend. That's how it was. But crazy enough, I was talking to his twin brother. But they were fraternal twins. But when you find out that they twins, their names do rhyme. They sort of look similar. I should have known, but dang, I should have known this wouldn't last long when you didn't go home some nights. That's what that remind me of, that little rap right there. But yeah, I should have known. But that was my situation. So that's why I was like, me and Marcello, back then, anytime you said you had a boyfriend, guys would always hit you with that line, you can't have a friend, knowing they didn't want to be no friend. They wanted to, what they wanted to do. They were not interested really in just being friends. So he hit me with that line, you want to be friends? And I'm like, yeah, we could be friends, right? So 20 minutes gone. I'm not even going to get to that testimony part. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just setting up the story. I told you I was going to try, but I guess I'm not successful with this. So anyways, got to speed it along. So it's 3 now. It's the 2 twins and it's Marcello. But Marcello's just my friend. Come over his house. We just hanging out, watching TV, whatever, talking. Like, really, he snuck me into the house to watch TV on the couch. But most time we would hang out in the driveway. because his grandmother did not allow, him to have female company. Though he lied and said he could, he wasn't able. Marcello was 18 as well. Wait, he could have been was he 17? If I met him, because I'm a little bit older than him. I was 18, I know. But my birthday's in June. His birthday's in October, so he could have been 17, but I think he was 18. Don't know. But he had recently moved from South Carolina here. So to try to speed it up, we started spending a lot of time together. So much time together, almost every waking moment together, too. My boyfriend started to be like, anytime I would be with him, I would be hurrying, and I'm like, I gotta go. And he's like, you just got here. Like, why we can't never spend no time together? We ain't never chilling together. Now, he was kind of on the block. I didn't know exactly what he did, but I knew he always was standing on the block, so you could kind of figure out what he was doing. But, so I would just always cut it short. There is a story time about how the twins found out about each other. So the other twin was like, you could have her, bruh. And then the other twin was like, no, we could work this out. So I ended up staying with the one twin that was saying we could work this out. I was with him. That was my boyfriend. Marcello was just my friend. But we were spending so much time together. It was like that connection was just so, and he was the type, no ma'am, yes ma'am, like interacting with his grandmother. And he was opening doors. I'm like, now I'm a tomboy my whole life. I had just started dating. So I'm kind of I'm a tough woman. Like, for real, I still am. I'm not a very feminine woman at all. Like, this is crazy. But I'm not a feminine woman. I'm a very tough woman, right? So him opening doors, I'm like, what you doing, bro? Like, for real. But he was so attentive. He was so different. And we connected. Well, that song, by Donnell Jones, I just left my baby a message. Say I won't be coming home, rather be alone. And then it ends with where I wanna be. So he's basically saying, do I stay in this relationship that I've been in, or do I go explore other things? Like, for real. So that song really explains where I was in my life. Did I want to stay with the guy I was with, or did I want to be with this guy that's my friend? Like, literally, I wouldn't hug Marcello. I didn't kiss him. When it was time to leave, I would give him dap. We used to dap. And he'd be like, come on now, give me a hug. And I'd be like, all right, remember, you just my friend. You said we friends. Like, is our friends? Or I do that, that hug where you tap their back. I'm telling you, that's how I was with Marcello. And so I'm like, in my mind, do I want to be with him, or do I want to, Well, I guess fate had kind of sealed the deal, because one day one of my friends called me and she was like, Keita, you ain't gonna never believe who got shot. Like, who got shot? It was my boyfriend. He had got shot. I haven't told that story, so I ain't gonna tell how he got shot, but he got shot in his neck. So it was so crazy. I rushed down to the hospital, and Marcello came with me as my friend, my companion. Like, my friend just got shot, Marcello. So he came with me down to the hospital. He was there. He was like consoling me, but I couldn't see my boyfriend. I couldn't see him. They wouldn't let me in the room. I didn't know what was going to happen to him. In the end, he ended up in jail. The boyfriend, he ended up in jail. But he ended up paralyzed from the neck down. So it was too much for the state. See, when you're the state don't mind taking you in, they can make some monies off of you. But when you cost them monies, they're not looking to have you in their facilities. I try to tell y'all what it's really about, but nobody want to hear it. So they released him because it was too much care that they would have had to do with him in prison. So that kind of ended our relationship there. Because at first I didn't know if he lived or passed. But he lived, but he was paralyzed from the neck down. So me and Marcello just kept hanging out as friends. I'm not even going to get this story done. Gosh. Every time I set out to tell one story, I end up telling some other story. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me. I'm not good at this. So we kept hanging out, and it was one day. I knew the feelings for him were growing. I knew this is there's some strong stuff that be like burning your insides, like that I want to cry feeling, but you're holding in a cry. It's that I ain't never felt like this type of feeling. And I was telling myself, I think I love him, but we really only supposed to be friends. And I've been hurt, and I'm sure he's going to hurt me anyway, so I don't want to take that chance. But it was actually a video, not a video. I watched an episode of Oprah that inspired me. It was basically, because I don't have time to tell it, it was basically saying, tell people how you feel, because it was an example that the person wasn't even there at the end of the day when the person came back. Their loved one was gone. So you got to tell people in the moment how you feel. So I'm like, I got to tell him I love him. No, even before that, he kept begging me to be his girlfriend. I kept saying, no, we friends, remember? Wouldn't let him out the friend zone. Until one day I'm like, okay, but I'm not even playing with you. Like I'm going to rough you up if you basically. But I was like, you know what? Against my better judgment, I'm going to give you a chance. We can be, I'll be your girlfriend. But you better play your cards right, basically. So from that point, we became boyfriend, girlfriend. And then later, that's when I had that burning feeling. Like, I got to tell this boy I love him. I got to tell him I love him. And we were just so inseparable. All the time together. Never apart. Missing work for him. Missing school. And all that time together, I ended up getting pregnant with our daughter. I didn't expect, I thought that was going to be the end. Okay, this is where it ends. This is where they go left. This is where they act up. This is what I seen. Like, this is what I felt in my spirit. Here it is. And we went walking around the block, and I told him I was pregnant. And he bent down right there, and he started rubbing my stomach. And he was like, "Gonna be a father?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he almost cried. He was just so happy. He was in love with our daughter before our daughter was even born. Like, he was the best father at every appointment. That's why it's too good to be true for us to end up together, because he was the best father. You know it can't end like that. It has to be conflict in life. So, of course, he had to be wrongfully incarcerated. So, everything was perfect. I ended up having our daughter on bed rest. And I get ready to get back. You know, you're getting yourself together. You're trying to get your body back together. You're trying to get the hang of a new baby, because I'm not used to staying up all night like that. But put a pin in this. That's the last time I got me some sleep, when Money was born. After that, it was it. No more sleep for me. 2 months after my husband went out one day, we actually spent the whole day together. And had we spent the whole night, none of this would have happened. I blame myself a lot of times for his wrongful incarceration, because I'm like, had I not dropped him off, he couldn't have been at the wrong place at the wrong time. But y'all know what happened from there. He was wrongfully arrested. He didn't call me back. He always called me back. So when I didn't hear from him, and then I finally hear from him from some weird number, he's like crying, "This red band on my arm, this red band." I'm like, "What red band? You in the hospital?" He said, "This red band on my arm, this red band." I'm like, "What red band? What does the red band say?" He said, "It says life or DEATH. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And that's what I found out. He had been arrested. So the story that I wanted to tell was how miraculously I got a bond to get him out of jail. Because remember, I was broke. I was working at Winn-Dixie making $5.15 an hour. And it wasn't even a full-time job. So I definitely couldn't afford no bond money, no lawyer money, no nothing. But God made a way. He made a way. Our daughter was only 2 months old, so he got to see the birth of our daughter. He got to be there with her for the first 2 months, and that boy held her all day long. He didn't have a car. He used to walk to my house to come just sit there all day with her. He really loved our daughter. And 2 months later, he was being snatched, ripped out of our lives. I thought it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare, but a nightmare you wake up from. I didn't know it would be this long. We were 19 and 20. He was 19, I was 20 by the time I had our daughter. I'm 44. His birthday is October the 2nd. He will be 44. So it's been that long. And his birthday, prophetically, is National Wrongful Conviction Day. So thought it was a nightmare, but I never woke up from the nightmare. But the story of how I actually was able to get him a bond to get out. And from 2 months to 9 months old, so that's 7 months before he went to his rigged up trial and lost and was taken away from our daughter. That 7 months, he was able to build the deepest bond with our daughter. He was looking for jobs. He was on house arrest, but couldn't really find nothing. So he was basically sitting home all day with our daughter, trying to comb her hair and feeding her. He always tells how he used to make these egg and cheese sandwiches and how she first started crawling and would be crawling real fast on her knees over to him when he smelt the little eggs. She smelt the eggs. And they were just so inseparable. Money used to do this thing where she pull his face in close and just nuzzle him. I have a picture of it. And then our granddaughter used to do that to Money. So I don't know if that's just something in their DNA with babies, like how they babies act. But I got them side by side. They both did that. And she loved him so much. I loved them so much too. Trial came finally the day, and y'all know how that ended. He lost. I don't know how he lost. There was not a shred of evidence. You had 3 officers conflicting one another. You had 2 alleged victims, one on D-rugs or substances, shaking and jerking, and him and the other guy can't even get their story straight. They lying on this side, they lying on that side. They stories conflict with the stories of the officers. So I'm like, you're definitely coming home. This was just the test. At this time, we still believed in justice because we were law-abiding citizens, still are. Still law-abiding citizens. So we just knew this was going to work out and we were going to get on with our lives. It didn't end that way. It ended with him getting sentenced to 40 years. Our daughter, at 9 months, I had to take her to the jail. And at that time, we visited behind a glass. Now it's on a little teleprompter thing or whatever, TV thing. But at that time, it was behind a thick glass, and I had to watch our daughter jump at that glass, jump. And she seen her daddy, and she just jumping at the glass. And her look was like, why won't daddy hit me? I would see him put his hand up to the glass, her hand on the other side. I had to witness all of this. It hurt. It really hurt. And a lot of it I had to forget. I had to block out my mind because that's a bad feeling. It's a bad feeling. But something in me still wouldn't give up. I still knew this was just a hurdle. He's going to come home. He's going to come home. So I'm going to pick up because I want to tell the miraculous story of how he did get a bond. Because without that bond, he would have left our daughter's life at 2 months. Right? A 2-month-old baby is different from a 9-month, almost 10-month baby. He would have been taken before him and her could have even built any type of bond. But God gave us a little bit more time, gave us about 7 more months to solidify their relationship. And they have been inseparable ever since. But all right, guys, I'm out of time. I'm sorry with my long-winded self, but I'll try to tell part two. I'll try to stay on track too, because there's so many other videos I want to record. I want to finish. Girl, at this point, I never finish 1250 podcast reviewing and drawing his video. Drawing his picture, reviewing his video. A wrongful conviction story, James Richardson. I just started that, and I knew I was going to have to break that down to a couple parts. I got that. And then I got this testimony I got to finish because I didn't get to finish in this video. That's why I really wish I had finished. But yeah, God gave us 7 more months together in the free world. All right, guys. It's your girl, Cadillac.